Hey guys, girls, YouTubers, internet junkies, and virtual reality enthusiasts. I've had quite a few comments here about my Ricoh Theta S, and somebody asked me if I would show them my workflow for getting the footage from the camera and up to YouTube in 360 degrees. So we're going to get right to that after the break. Alright, so the Ricoh Theta S makes it super simple to work with to get stuff online in virtual reality. You can do it from your app on your phone using their Ricoh app. They now have a Ricoh video app which will take in one of your clips and it'll allow you to trim it. So if you put it on a tripod like this and you hit record, walk away, come back and hit end, you can trim out the parts where you're walking to and from the camera. Pretty cool. But that's about all it does. It takes a long time to render it, and then it allows you to finally share it, and it'll share to Facebook and YouTube in 360 degrees. So that's pretty cool. That's a step forward. I wish you could edit multiple clips together, but you can't using that software. But I'm going to show you my process here on my computer on how I do that. Alright, so I've got my Ricoh Theta S here. It's powered on and I'm going to connect it to the USB right now. And I'll get a little warning usually that says that it cannot find a camera. But because I'm plugged into Final Cut, it's going to go ahead and open it up here. And now Final Cut is buggy for me when I import footage using Final Cut. And as you can see here, the video is one file with two different spherical images. So I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm just going to quit this import process, and I find that image capture is the best way to import this because I have to go ahead and stitch it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to import all of this footage from San Francisco, and then I'll be back in just a second and show you the simple process of stitching it. Look at this error. Error occurred while importing. 16 items were not imported. This is the kind of issues that I seem to have with the Ricoh Theta S on a Mac for some reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it a little bit different. I'm going to create a folder on my desktop here. Just call it San Fran VR. And sometimes the way I can trick it is I can actually just open up this folder and I can just drag all of these clips into the folder. Seems a little bit ridiculous, but I don't know why that works versus hitting the import button. I don't know if it's the timeout settings on the Ricoh or what. I haven't quite figured that out yet. I also have that same issue, like I was saying, when I import using the Final Cut X import option. Usually takes me 3 or 4 times before I get all the footage imported. Once you have the footage on the computer, it's really easy. For some reason, this has become the tricky part. And like I said, I could import it all to my phone using the app, which is really slow, and then connect my phone and bring it in already stitched and ready to work with. But I prefer this method. It takes a little bit longer because of the errors, but it's still faster than importing all of it to the iPhone. One other quick thing to note is I wouldn't use this process if I was only going to use one clip. I would send that to my phone, to the app, using their video edit software, then to trim the front and back of the clips if I need to, and then it converts it and it'll upload straight from the app. And so that would be my go-to for a single clip. But because I want to edit a couple clips together, I'm going to go through this process and show you the workflow of editing multiple clips into a timeline. Alright, so we have all of the files here now imported, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Ricoh Theta app. And this doesn't have a whole lot of options. Basically, you drag your clips here that you want stitched, and it'll stitch them for you. So you don't need the JPEGs, just these video files. And I'm just going to do a couple of them so we can get right into this. And I'm going to drag them and drop them in here, and I'll tell it to convert them here. And I'm just going to put in the same folder because it's going to call them injected files. So here it's going to convert these 6 clips, and we'll be right back and show you what it looks like inside of Final Cut. Alright, so our video is finished importing. We'll go ahead and we're going to just look at the 2 different files here first of all. You can see the difference. Here's the stitched image, and here is the original with the 2 spherical images. And so we're going to work with the one that is stitched together. And so we're going to open up Final Cut, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to import these clips here. And I just do the drag and drop method. There we go. We have our clips. Now, you can edit these just like any normal clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new project. And this is the one thing you have to do is set up a custom timeline. So you want 1920 by 960, and it is 30p footage. So there we go. We'll call this Cable Car VR, and we'll hit OK. So now we have our super wide angle timeline to work with, and we can just scrub through our footage here and choose what clips we want to put in for export. Alright, so I've got my clips now into my timeline, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that I do here in the edit process. The first thing, I like to put a little title at the beginning. Notice how small it is, because when you're doing the virtual reality, you got to think that there's room for people to look around, and so this actually will take up most of the screen when it's in the virtual reality mode or the 360 mode in YouTube or on Facebook, because you'll only be seeing a snippet of the screen and you can look around. So that's the first note. Keep it really small. Some people will also put text like here and here, so that if somebody is looking around, don't need it as much on the title card like I have here, but if people are looking around, you want to make sure that they'll see any text that you might put on the screen. So I just cut a couple clips in here together, riding the cable car, inside shots, outside shots. And then at the end, I was doing a wrap up here. But I want to show you what I did, because the camera, when you're pointing it, the back side of the Ricoh Theta S, the non-button side, is what is going to be right in the center here of your shot. And then this would be directly coming off the back camera. So what I've done here is I've recut this. So let me show you here what we've got. I've slipped the clip so you can actually change what is like the home or the front facing part of the look. In other software that I've used, you can actually slide your clip around and it'll reset it. But with this, you don't have that ability. So what I've done is I've just moved this clip over so that I could have me in the middle. So if somebody's looking straight, I would be there. You know, somebody could at this point have been looking around, but my guess is that they were watching what was in the center of the camera, which is pretty much this trolley here. And so when it'll cut to me now, kind of giving a wrap up. But that's just a little trick that I've done. I've basically doubled the clip, so I have both sides here. So I slid one clip to the left, and I copied and pasted the same video clip on top of itself, and I slid it to the right. And because this is centered, this will be what's right in front of the viewer from the starting point of where the video thinks front is. So forward facing, I guess. I don't know exactly the terminology to use there. Anyway, that's just a quick tip. Now exporting. Here's the problem. For me, as a Mac user using Final Cut Pro, it likes QuickTime movies. However, the Google Metadata tool that you have to use for YouTube requires an MP4. So there's two ways that you can tackle this. I have a compressor set up here using compressor that was created as a custom preset outside of Final Cut in compressor, so that when I come into my export options, I can choose a compressor setting and then tell it that I want it to be whatever custom setting that I've created. So down here I've got this VR app group that I have with one file in it. The other way is, and it's one way that I don't use very often, I've used it occasionally, is to just export. I have like a master H.264 QuickTime, and I'll do that, which will export it in a high quality H.264 file, and then I'll use Handbrake. So I've gone ahead already and I've exported the file. It's already an MP4, so I've already got it locked here as an MP4 file. But I'm going to go ahead and just do the handbrake trick on this particular file to show you how that works. So let me quickly pull up handbrake. And this is a free download. Anybody can download it. Free of charge. I'm going to get that cable car clip. And so all you have to do here is change your video codec to an MPEG-4, which we want an MPEG-4 file, not an MKV. Same as source, keep all of that the same. Toggle presets out here on the side. We've got it set to normal, MP4 with, again, back to the MP4. I don't really change too much of this stuff. You could leave it constant bitrate. I'm going to leave it variable for now. And then I would just hit start and it'll go ahead and create that file for me. Once you have your MP4 file, that's where the 360 video metadata tool comes in. And this is a free download. I'll put all of the links for this in the description. So I'll put a handbrake link and I'll put this 360 metadata injector link and a link to the Ricoh app so you can make sure that you have all of these. So all I'm going to do here is say open, and I haven't done this process on this file yet. I'm going to do the VR file, and it says no metadata found. And if you're not paying attention, it took me a while the first time. It wouldn't let me save as. You just have to choose it's a spherical 360 video. And so then once you click that, you can hit save as, and it'll say injected. And so that's how we know that's our final file. And it just wraps that metadata on there real quickly. And then all you have to do is upload it to YouTube. So I've got my YouTube channel open already. I'm going to take this cable car VR injected file and drag it in here. And because we've put the metadata on it, YouTube is going to know what to do with it. Alright, so I've got my file uploading. It's as simple as that. You edit it like a regular video. You can do color correction on it, put effects in, you can do titles, you can do a whole lot of things just like you would in normal editing. The one thing to note though is you want to give people enough time to look around the scene. So it's different than normal editing in that sense because you want to leave each clip up for a little bit longer than you would probably normally do for other editing pieces, just to allow people to orient themselves. If they're actually following a shot, so if say I had this trolley shot here in the beginning, let me just minimize this. Just one thing to note, so this trolley is driving along here, and if it goes hard right to the right side, you might want to start your next shot over here because they're already going to be turned that way. In this case, I didn't do it. There's enough time, you know, they can be looking in. It's not a big deal. But if you want to direct their eyes from shot to shot, just be mindful of where the last thing that they were looking at was. And if you want them to be looking directly at your subject in the next scene, try and put it at the same part of the frame as the previous one. And you can use that whole slip trick that I was using before, where you would then slip this clip to the side. Say if I wanted the street to be lined up because that's where they're going to be looking now, I would move it here, and then I'd just duplicate this clip like so. And so now we've got it back in place, and we just slide this one over and we'd line these up. Alright, we're back. Final Cut had just quit on me for some reason. So we're back, and we'll just go ahead and we'd line this up pretty much like so. You want to go ahead and make sure that your y-axis is set to 0 on both clips so that they'll be lined up properly. And then I just go into like 100%, 200%, and I just verify that the seams are indeed lined up. So the Ricoh Theta S is in no way a perfect virtual reality camera. What it is it's affordable and it's easy to use, which makes it a lot of fun to shoot with. It gives the virtual reality experience, but the quality is, you know, it's pretty soft imagery. But again, it's so easy to work with and it's so quick to get stuff online. And it's actually, you know, it can be fun to watch, even though it's soft, as long as you give a good experience with the footage that you're shooting. So I like it because it's so easy. I look forward to new tech that's as simple to use as this, with a couple of other features. I'd like to be able to lock the exposure and things like that. But overall, I'm happy with this and have a lot of fun shooting with it. So we'll see you guys later.